Exiled into the dangerous forest by her wicked stepmother, a princess is rescued by 7 dwarf miners who make her part of their household. The first animated film, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, is up next on Inside Movies. Hey there, welcome to a very special edition of Inside Movies. I'm calling this Daddy-Daughter Reviews. Today I'm joined by my daughter, Ileana Michail. Ileana, how's it going?
Good.
Today we're talking about Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. So let's get into it. What did you like about it? What is the good of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs?
Well, I think that I really liked the background work. I liked how in the backgrounds they used painters and they painted the backgrounds and I think they were really pretty.
It is a gorgeous movie, right? So this is the first animated movie ever made. It's just about 80 years old now, and we watched it together today and rewatched it, and it's a great one, right? It's a beautiful movie to look at. The animation is stunning. I liked the water effects in the movie, right? That was really cool. Like when she's singing into the well and it's doing the ripples.
Yeah, I really liked the water effects as well. The waterfalls and the water reflections, they were really pretty.
They were. And what else did you like in the animation too?
And the shadows they were really pretty because they had a sense of realism.
Yeah, no, it did add a sense of depth and realism as the shadows are getting bigger, as and things are changing, right? And the matte paintings that they use as the backgrounds and the characters move on top of it are really impressive. They did a multiplane camera on that, so the camera would move through sheets of glass with the animation, and so they could zoom in and zoom out. It was an old way of doing it. Now everything's done on computers, but back then you actually had to film it in camera to make these things happen. And what about the characters? Did you like the characters?
Yeah, I liked how the characters stick to their title almost. Just wanted to stay the same. Except for Grouchy, was it Grumpy?
It's Grumpy, not Grouchy.
Or was it Grouchy? No, it's Grumpy. Except for Grumpy, they all kind of stayed the same. I liked how Grumpy changed. He was the only one who did, and I think it was fun that he did.
Right, yeah, he didn't like Snow White at first, but then towards the end of the movie, he's the one that's leading the charge to go and rescue her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The characters all kind of match their titles, right? Dopey's my favorite. He's just he doesn't talk. He's kind of like a dog, and like when he's sleeping and he's kicking and stuff like that. And he just seems so innocent and sweet and just kind of a goofball. So he's my favorite. Who's your favorite?
I think Doc was my favorite. I thought it was fun how he stuttered and how he could never get the words right. I thought it was super fun that they made the character so real. It's like they almost made him there. How you always mess up on your words, just like I
am. No, you're doing great. You're doing great. Yeah, no, there's lots of great characters too. I love the villain, the evil queen is awesome, right? And she's talking into that mirror, and she's got the purple cloak, and she's just staring out the window. I like how I noticed that that scene is recreated in Disneyland when you're in the theme park. You can see the queen open up the windows on the second floor. I also like the queen's basement where she's mixing up the potion and making the poison apple, and her whole motivation is that she wants to be the fairest, the prettiest of them all in the whole world, and the mirror tells her if she is or if she isn't, and that's why she hates Snow White so much. And so it's a simple motivation, but she wants to be the best. She's got to get rid of her stepdaughter, and I like her transformation, the way that character looks when she becomes the old hag, and she delivers the apple to Snow White. I think she's
Yeah.
just so cool. Like she's got the crow as like her like little sidekick, and and then the vultures are sweeping around. But she did kind of go out like a punk a bit when the
Yeah,
dwarves are coming to get her, and she like breaks the mountain off.
I thought it was funny how that said a thunderbolt to mix well. I thought that's really realistic because everything on a recipe it always says mix well, no matter what it is. So I thought that was fun that they made it real like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and what's going to mix things better than a lightning bolt to your goblet? I also really liked when Snow White runs into that spooky forest, and the trees are kind of scaring her, and she doesn't know which way to turn. I like kind of bumps and chills and frights like that. That's why I've created a comic book called Cover Darkness. It's kind of like Game of Thrones meets like the Universal Monsters. It's about a family in Romania. They get separated from each other. Oh no, right? And they encounter all those classic villains. A mom, her two daughters, and she has twin shape-shifting nephews, boys that can turn into animals. So you get like gorillas fighting werewolves. It's totally bonkers. It's available to order into your local comic book store. It's out from Source Point Press. If you're out there and you like scares and you don't want Halloween to end and you want to keep being spooked, go out and ask your local comic book store for Cover Darkness. Definitely more of a 13 plus sort of series, but there's no cursing or nudity in it, so it is kind of fun for a lot of ages, but there is blood and guts and monsters in it. And what about the music? Did you like the music?
Yes, I really like how they use the music just to motivate themselves. In Hi Ho and Whistle While You Work, they were motivating themselves with the music, and I thought that was a really fun way to put the music in.
Yeah, no, and even Snow White uses it to kind of calm herself down when she gets lost in the spooky forest.
Yeah.
Right? So she's talking about, and I like how Snow White interacts with all the different animals, and she's really nice to all the dwarves, and she just seems like a nice girl.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie's not perfect. It's not one of your favorites. So let's talk about the bad. What did you not like about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
In some of the characters' faces, like Snow White, the Prince, and the Queen, their face got a little bit blurry and inconsistent. It went all jumbly.
All jumbled. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. So yeah, like those characters are more realistic, right? Like they're the dwarves and the animals, they're all very cartoony, very round features. And for the more human characters, they went like photo reference almost. And I think they filmed actual actors, and then they tried to animate those actors in motion. And yeah, the lines kind of waver a little bit in portions, and so that is a bit of a flaw in the movie. But this is the first animated movie, so we do have to give it a little bit of a break for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Walt Disney even won an award, right? A special Oscar, and then he had like 7 little mini Oscars too with it for this movie. Well, for myself, probably my biggest issue with the movie is the pacing in the middle is a little bit slow. And I didn't necessarily care about all the kind of like little vignettes segments. Like it starts off just dynamite. Like, you meet Snow White, you meet the Queen, and then the huntsman is gonna wipe out Snow White, and you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then he lets her go, and then she runs and gets lost in the forest, and then she finds the cottage with where the Seven Dwarfs lives, and like all that stuff happens in like 10-15 minutes, and it's like really like a great start to the movie. And then there's like about a half an hour of just like her cleaning the house, the dwarves coming home, washing. There's scenes of them sleeping. It's like I don't really want to watch them sleep. You know what I mean? Like I would have liked a little bit more story instead of just these like cute bits happening. And then my other criticism is that like Snow White, she doesn't have like a ton of personality. She's just kind of a victim. She's optimistic, but she doesn't really have any hobbies or there's not really a lot to kind of cling on to with her. And I don't love the
Yeah.
voice. I find the voice a little grating and just it's not my favorite style of singing voice.
Yeah, and she wasn't really the star of the show sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'd rather watch the Dwarves than her. I couldn't really relate to Snow White as much as I could to the Dwarves. I could relate to being grouchy and I could relate to being grumpy. And I could relate to being happy or shy or just not have anything to say. But I couldn't really relate to Snow White's feelings, and she didn't really have the personality to try to.
And also, like, she falls in love with that prince, and she does not know that guy, like, at all. Like, not even a little bit. Like, she runs away from him the first time she sees him. And then he, like, sings a bit of a song, and then she's like, okay, he's awesome. And then we don't see him again until he, like, kisses her, and she comes back to life.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
I kind of wish we had a little bit more time to know him. I wish we got to know him a little bit, not be gone for the whole movie.
Yeah, totally. There's not that much wrong with this movie, though. Like, should we just get
Yeah.
into the grades? All right, let's get into the skinny. What is your final grade for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
I give Snow White a B for one of the first animated Disney movies. And I think it was a beautiful movie, and I think the animation they used was amazing, but it had some flaws. Like that Snow White wasn't the star of her own movie.
Right, because you like the dwarves better.
Yeah, the dwarves are more relatable. They have more character, and they have more personality. Snow White, even though she's in it in most of the movie, you feel she's the least relatable. Even though she's there for the entire thing. I feel that if she had a little bit more personality, or she's optimistic, but she doesn't really have a personality, she doesn't have hobbies. Like you were saying, she doesn't have something to try to know her with.
Right, like she's not into books like Belle. She doesn't collect things and is fascinated with the land world like Ariel. She's not kind of stuck inside all the time and gone a little, stir crazy like Rapunzel. So yeah, she doesn't have as much as some of those other characters that you like better. I'm gonna give it an A minus. Snow White is a classic, right? It has great characters, great songs. Someday my prince will come. When I hear that song, I think Disney. I think good times at Disneyland. I think fireworks. I think magic. Um, so great music, great characters. A cool villain. It's an awesome movie. But yeah, I think the flaws that we touched on, that that Snow White doesn't have a bit more personality, that her singing voice is not really my cup of tea, and that she is obsessed with this prince that she doesn't even know. These things are kind of a little strange to me, and it keeps it from being like a top tier Disney movie, but it is a great Disney. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Inside Movies. Ileana Michail, I want to thank you for being on the show.
I'm glad to be here, and I think it was really fun watching Snow White.
Absolutely. And kids, if you're out there watching this on YouTube, you can click on any of the movies that say daddy-daughter reviews. If they say retrospective review, those are more of an adult kind of movie review with a little bit of bad language. But any of the ones that say daddy-daughter, those ones are good for all ages. All right, until next time, peace.